So to start off with, we've simply created 4 polylines. The middle 2 polylines are to represent the raised section of the speed table. So this will be about 75mm above the surface below. What we have done with each of these is to trim them to the top of kerb code. The idea would be that this speed table will be flush between the area here and the top of kerb, so that those 2 points should be at the same elevation. We've done that with each one, trimming it back to the top of kerb code. Remaining 2 polylines have been trimmed to the invert code. The idea will be that these will be draped simply onto the surface below, and we want to make sure that we don't have any overlap up the kerb face with this particular drape. So we're going to run through the south polylines that we've got displayed here and create those, and then fast forward to show you how you can then combine the 4 of these to create a single model. So to begin with, we're going to create a grading string using the following polyline. So a grading string is ideal for this type of scenario. We're not having to go through the process of creating a civil site design or civil 3D alignment, and because we're just simply draping and setting some elevations, it's a nice quick process. So we're going to go up to the Roads tab, click on the grading panel and click on Create Grading. I'm going to select the south polyline, and we're going to complete the form as follows. We're not going to apply template. The target surface is a surface we've created, which is a built model surface, so this could be existing. In this case, it's simply going to be a design surface we've created. Going to click on the picker tool for the elevation. This picker tool will read an elevation from the surface that you've chosen above, and in this case it's around 6.7. The spacings is important. Now in this scenario, I'm not going to have a spacing of every one because I really want to pick up that nice detail around the kerb and the gutter. So I'm actually going to make this around 50mm. We are not going to create a surface. This is simply a single string with no template. There is no need for any surface to be created, so we've got that box checked. All we're going to do is click on Create Update. Now at this point, if you were draping onto a surface, you could simply go to the Vertical Grading tab and then strike the following button. This will add a IP onto the target surface at the spacings which we picked here, which is 50mm. Nothing wrong with doing that, however we're going to show you an alternative process through the Vertical Grading Editor. The reason why we're going to do this through the Vertical Grading Editor and through this button here, which is called Auto Profile, is because we can use something called threads later to update any of this part of the design. If the surface we're using updates, we can have the software go ahead and update any of what we have included in Auto Profile. This button here on the grid editor is a one-off single process which can't be updated again. In Auto Profile, we're going to go to Reference Surface, and we're going to say from 0 to 1000, match onto my surface called BM Intersection, and click OK and apply and exit. You can actually see the definition of the gutter of this particular kerb and then the actual road surface in between. So that's matched on nicely. We'll close this down. We'll close down the grading form. We're going to create one more by going up to the Create Grading pull down, click on Create Grading and select the second polyline. We're going to complete the form as follows. Again, we don't need a template. The target surface can be our intersection surface, that's fine. And again, the initial elevation isn't a problem. We are going to change the spacings, however, to every 50mm. And again, make sure that we're not creating a surface. We're going to click on Create Update and have a quick look at the vertical grading. We're going to click on the Vertical Grading Editor button. The difference with this, because of the way that we have trimmed the polyline, we can actually see the top of kerb elevation at the start and at the end. So what I want to happen is for the start and end IP only to be draped onto that particular part of the surface. Then for the remainder, I want all of the IPs to be 75mm above. So we've basically got this flush surface going all the way through. To do this, I'm going to go to Auto Profile, and we're going to add 3 entries. We're going to click on Reference Surface. The first one will be chainage 0, and I'm simply going to put in a very, very small number, so I'm actually putting in 10mm. This is to just capture the first IP only. We're going to reference the built model intersection surface and click OK. At this point I'm just going to click on apply and exit so you can see what's happening. You can see that that point has tied up how we want it. Now all the way up to almost the very end we want to have a similar process but add 75mm. So to do this we're going to go back to Auto Profile, Reference Surface, and we'll say from, bearing in mind that if we capture that last IP and put 0.01 it will actually grab that IP, so we don't want that, so we're going to just add a very small value just ahead to make sure we don't grab it. We're then going to say all the way to nearly the very end. Now the very end chainage on the grid editor is 8.429, so let's just say all the way up to 8.4, and we'll grab that and select it on this following surface and check use fitting and add 75mm and click OK. Let's click apply and exit and see what happens. You can see it's run through that process but hasn't grabbed that last IP, so that's the last bit we need to cover. So we're just going to make sure that we go back to Auto Profile, Reference Surface, and we're going to say from 8.41, if we put 8.4 it will grab that last IP, which we don't want, all the way to the end, match onto the intersection surface, click OK and apply and exit. Now we're going to fast forward to the other two grading strings having been created and look at creating a model from them.